So Kyle Kulinski, AOC donates $160,000 to establishment Dems. They still hate her. All right, so if you approach a political topic with emotional responses, that is not a good sign.
Brings me no
Close
pleasure
to
to do this
emotion.
segment yet again.
This is what like Jimmy Dore does. This is what like Brianna Joy Gray does, Crystal Ball, Kyle Kulinski. They say, look at this. They hate you. The Democrats hate you. Why would you work with them? In reality, it doesn't matter who likes you or who hates you. It's politics. You need political power. So if AOC donates money to Democrats to maintain the House, that advances her political power. But they don't care about political power. They care about purity tests. And it's really frustrating to see such an emotional response. You know, if you think AOC is the cause of all your problems in politics, you don't understand politics. It's as simple as that.
I wish this wasn't the case, but it is. Politico is reporting the following. Vulnerable Democrats...
And he believes an article from Politico. The Mr. Independent Media Progressive believes everything he reads and the framing of the stuff he reads in an article from Politico. The only two news sources that reported on this were Fox News and Politico, and they both had a huge bias against AOC. And Kyle Kulinski, when it fits his narrative, is going to take the entire article as truth.
Fret after getting a shock. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's campaign cash. Ocasio-Cortez's largesse and an oversight at the campaign headquarters has raised awkward questions among her colleagues. So, let me just sum up for you what happened here. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is donating to centrist establishment Democrats.
Just remember, when we use the phrasing centrist establishment Democrats, who cares what kind of Democrats they are? There are millions of people in this country that may vote progressive someday that love these politicians. You want these voters to consider voting for progressives. Like when AOC went on The View and said that she is like a mama bear to her. AOC didn't call Nancy Pelosi Mama Bear because she actually likes Nancy Pelosi. Your emotions in politics don't matter. Your motivation does, but your emotions don't. When she says something like that, when she does this, she is trying to expand her voter base so progressives can get more voters. That is all that matters. It doesn't matter if you call these people, oh my God, establishment Democrats. Oh my God, they're centrists. Ugh. Dude, we need to go to the voters. We can't keep on rejecting people over purity testing.
Democrats who do this, elected Democrats who do this, they give to the DCCC, which is basically Establishment Democrat Central. And what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did is she didn't go through the DCCC because the DCCC doesn't like her and establishment Democrats don't like her. What she did is she donated directly to the centrist establishment anti-Medicare for all Democrats, directly to their campaigns. Now, the reason why this is a story is many of those Democrats saw that she donated and they were like, I don't want your money. And the reason
by many, he literally means rumors from 3 of them.
I want your money is because you're, a big, bad, far lefty, and the Republicans are going to use this against us, and they're going to use it to say...
Hey, think about it for a second. Is Nancy Pelosi good politically for Democrats? I hear this all the time out of people like Kyle Kulinski. Is she good for Democrats? Does she help Democrats win races? No, Nancy Pelosi is not popular outside of the Democratic Party, but she maintains her power position in the party. Why and how? You know why and you know how? Because she has connections. She has money coming in. She has a huge fundraising base from corporations, sure. But if AOC, if Bernie Sanders, if they want power within the Democratic Party, they need to prove that they can make the same connections. Not corporate, but that they can be a method to winning. Politicians care about winning races. If they think taking corporate money is the way to do that, they're going to do that. If they think going with AOC is the way to do that, they're going to do that. Progressives need to play ball a little bit. We can't literally just be cringy outsiders to literally everything. We need to influence policy and actually start helping voters and be that friendly face. Be a transition. When Nancy Pelosi leaves, when Chuck Schumer leaves, I don't want the Democratic Party to fall to the same exact type of politicians. I want the Democratic Party to go to politicians like AOC. This is how you do that. You don't get a party support. You don't get a support base from voters who you reject, who you say you hate. People love Pete Buttigieg in the party. Kyle Kulinski would never say anything positive about Pete. That is dumb politics. You need to be able to criticize Democrats while at the same time being a Democrat. We don't want to be adverse to the Democratic Party. We want to be the Democratic Party. That is the goal. It's not going to be a hostile takeover or whatever, like Kyle Kulinski said. I don't think he really understands the nuances in this, though.
We're all Democratic socialists.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, they hate AOC. They cannot stand AOC. AOC is worse than Bernie Sanders for them because AOC really threatens them in a unique way that Bernie didn't because she wants to be a Democrat. She wants to be the new Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders was an independent, sure. He ran as a Democrat, sure. But AOC's popularity is immense. Woman of color, her position in media is huge. You have to be very careful to talk about her in a negative light because the younger generation likes her so much. She has broad appeal with suburbanites as well, which is a big deal. They really scare her, AOC really scares them for those reasons.
And we're for icky things like healthcare and living wages, and we don't want to be dragged down in our more moderate districts, and we can see the attack ads running now that link you to us, and we don't want it, so some of them are returning the money. Now, the next question is, okay, Kyle, how much is she really given? How much did she really give them?
Well, like 5K
according to the article, it's
person.
about $160,000.
Yeah, 5K per candidate, right?
The thing is, a lot of people don't know this. The thing is, she's a phenomenal fundraiser, but she's not a phenomenal fundraiser in the traditional sense where, like, Nancy Pelosi gets all of her money through big financial institutions, through corporate America. And so that's one of the reasons why she's, she's been in government since.
Hey, if you want to criticize AOC for using money that people gave her from grassroots donations, and she took that money and she used it to donate to candidates who the support base doesn't approve of, you can criticize her for that. But if you're going to make a statement like this person said, so this is a progressive that ran in West Virginia. All right, she ran in West Virginia. She saw this article. And after seeing this article, she didn't look into this at all. She is only somewhat known because of Justice Democrats and because of AOC. But she read this article for a second, and she said, this is not what we supported when we started. Pretty sure AOC is battling for what the party wanted her to do, not what will help to pass the policies we need. Wow. How are we going to pass policies that we need if we don't have any political power within the Democratic Party? By yelling from the outside? By not having support? So she says here, I'm highly disappointed with my colleague, and I won't align with her anymore. I mean, okay. I don't think she understands how to get more broad appeal because she ran in West Virginia. The big idea was run on economic populism, right? That's what Kyle Kulinski would say. Run on economic populism and we're going to do better. We're going to do good. We can beat Republicans easily with economic populism. That's all it takes. We don't got to play party politics. We don't got to have political power. We just got to give good speeches. That's all it takes, right? And this is how she did in her race. To be fair, any Democrat would have lost by this much. Actually, no, they probably would have lost by a little bit less if they were a more conservative Democrat. But to be fair, they would have lost no matter what. A Democrat isn't going to win this seat. But this is a brutal performance. And, we are not cracking voter bases that we need to with this, whole theory of, economic populism is going to save the day no matter what. But yeah, it's really funny that she has a reaction, that adverse to AOC that quickly.
It's 1602, but the other reason why Nancy Pelosi is at the top of the party is because she's one of the most prolific fundraisers and she gets it from big money donors. Ocasio-Cortez rivals Nancy Pelosi in fundraising, but Ocasio-Cortez gets all of her money through small dollar donations from regular people.
True.
So this was her trying to, and they bring this up in the article too. They're like, oh, it appears like this is a good sign for democratic unity, even though the establishment centrist types hate the fact that she gave the money. So,
bro, that's what we want. You hold their feet to the fire. If they have a constituency that supports AOC's politics and they don't want money from her, that should hurt them politically.
So what's going on here? What's going on?
We want people to see AOC as a real Democrat, as a regular, or not I don't want to be seen as regular Democrats, but what I'm trying to say is we should be taking over the party. So we need Democratic voters. We need to be real Democrats in the sense where we are the new party. We are the new Democratic Party, but we also need to say we are going to be better. We're going to be the old Democrats at the same time, pro-union, pro-multiracial working class coalition, all that stuff. But at the same time, we need to get those voters that support a Pete Buttigieg in the primaries.
What's going on here? I mean, listen, I wish the answer wasn't this gross, but I think it is this gross. Ocasio-Cortez, I don't know how many of you recall this, but recently she was up for a vote for a committee assignment. It was viewed as a foregone conclusion that she would get that committee assignment.
Okay, yeah. This committee assignment thing isn't true. It wasn't a foregone conclusion or whatever. But that's the thing. We need a mix of populism. We need a mix of outside politics and inside politics working at the same time.
For a vote for a committee assignment, it was viewed as a foregone conclusion that she would get that committee assignment, and then she lost. because virtually all the establishment centrists rallied against her, and they picked somebody who's a conservative Democrat. And
Yeah, they were mad that she supported progressives in primaries against their candidates. Like, of course they're going to be mad about that. This is politics. What do you want them to do? That shouldn't affect your decision-making process. Like, this is how it works. It's not a clean game. We have to be able to win. And we're not going to win by just sitting out of like protest.
the conventional wisdom is the reason they voted against her is because there have been a number of examples of Ocasio-Cortez supporting primaries against elected establishment Democrats. And in Washington, D.C., that's viewed as complete heresy. That's viewed as like, how dare you? We all made it inside the club, and now you're launching cruise missiles at other
pragmatic populism.
people inside the club.
I like that.
That's not acceptable.
I like that,
So this was a way to try to discipline her, to get her to fall in line and be a good little girl for the party. And that's exactly...
See these emotionally charged statements? Be a good little girl. They hate you. They hate you, progressive voters. They hate you. These establishment centrist corporate Democrats are all evil. And anyone who supports them simply isn't a real... Like, we need a politics of addition, not subtraction. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly what she ended up doing. So this is her waving the white flag and saying, okay, my bad. Yes, I bucked the party narrative perhaps too much. And so now I want to get back in everybody's good graces. What can I do to help? And then she donates $160,000 to centrist Democrats in more so-called moderate districts. These are anti-Medicare for all Democrats. And so this is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez trying to get back in the...
How are you going to pressure Democrats to do better things if they don't have any political power? Like, they can just say Republicans, we need the You would think, after what we have seen in the first couple months of the Biden admin, you would think that people would realize, like Kyle Kulinski would realize, how important it is that Democrats have a majority, not only because of getting policies through, but also for pressuring Democratic politicians. Like, instead of, there's like tiers to it. So if Republicans own the Senate and the House, then everything's going to be blamed on Republicans, right? If Republicans hold it, every policy that doesn't go through, Democrats can say, "Well, I don't know what we're doing. I can't get any policies through." Mitch McConnell. If Democrats own the Senate and the House by slight majorities, they can be like, "I don't know what we're doing. Joe Manchin is stopping us. We can't do any better. Joe Manchin's stopping us." If Democrats have a huge majority in the House and the Senate, that's a great opportunity to push Democrats left, because there isn't the Republican threat. There isn't the threat of Joe Manchin holding up every bill. So the party having power is big for multiple reasons. And also we need the party to be popular, because in America, there are two major parties. And if we want Medicare for all or any of these big changes to happen, we need Democrats to be more powerful politically, and we need to be the new Democrats. It's a very, that's how it needs to be done. That's how it's going to be done if it does happen. We're not going to have a big populist party come like Sagar and Crystal think from Rising or whatever.
The good graces of the establishment. That's what this is. Because they came after her when she stepped out of line and endorsed primary opponents against some of them. And instead of doubling down on that fight, being very public with that fight, growing a backbone and saying, "No, I'm supporting primary opponents against you because you guys aren't for Medicare for all."
Instead of tanking her political power, she gains more political power. So she didn't get the seat because she went against. Okay, these are very. This is called doublethink, right? When he's like conflicting himself or like contradicting himself.
For all, you guys aren't for the policies that I'm for. You're not for the American people. Instead of doing that, what does she do? Okay, you win, but please, don't come after me anymore. Don't kick me off committees anymore.
It's not
Don't
emotional
do
like
negative
that.
Against me, because now I'm gonna help you.
It's
and
calculated.
Like, I think she's doing like $5,000 a pop to a bunch of them. So, I mean, there is literally no way of spinning
Why
this.
is he talking like we're having a shouting match in a parking lot? This is politics, not a playground. Like, come on,
That
dude.
could potentially be positive for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
She was
I mean, I
mean
guess
to
you
you.
can make some sort of stretch theory of
Now
like,
she's being nice.
she's donating to them in order to try to tank their campaigns because she knows that it might hurt them if they're associated with her in that district.
Yeah, Kyle definitely just like scanned through the Politico article and just
it's like
went off on it.
High-level chess move of like, oh, I could tank them by acting like I'm helping them because now my name is associated with them and they're going to be attacked.
No, that would be.
But that's not true. I don't think that's true at all. I think the reality is what I described, which is she knows that, the establishment doesn't like her because she stepped out of line one too many times, and so now she's trying to be a good girl and get back in their good graces. So this is her trying to play ball
A
with the club
good girl.
in order to...
Do you think he would say good boy? I don't know. Maybe he'd call Bernie a good boy. He did call Bernie an idiot before. Remember he said either Bernie Sanders doesn't really care about the issues he's fighting for, or he's not that politically smart. Kyle Kulinski actually said that, and he said that about AOC too. Kyle Kulinski said verbatim, Bernie Sanders either doesn't care enough, or he simply isn't smart enough. Kyle Kulinski from his bedroom in New York said that about Bernie Sanders. Interesting.
To work with them, get along with them, and not be an outcast. I really think there's no other logical explanation. And so, I mean, this is a betrayal of what she was sent there to do. She was sent there to shake things up. She even said it. Hey, if I'm a one-termer but I get shit done, I'd rather be a one-termer and get shit done than.
Yeah, I think Kyle's a decent guy. It's not like his fault he's a little bit silly. He's a little bit silly in politics. He gets too emotional about it. Like, his politics trains you to be adverse to human beings, I think. Like, there's a lot of people who are very much working class who did support Joe Biden. Like, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders were the two working class candidates as far as demographics go. I know he doesn't talk about the black working class that much, but that is true. When it comes to class background, Joe Biden got, well, yeah, he got most of the working class black voters and working class voters in general. We're split between him and Bernie. Kyle's politics sort of trains his viewers to come up to somebody, and if they say I supported somebody other than Bernie Sanders, his viewers might have an adverse reaction to them. When I was big into the Kyle Kulinski Jimmy Dore fan club, whatever, I used to be like that. If somebody said to me that they supported Elizabeth Warren or they supported Pete Buttigieg or they supported Joe Biden, I probably wrote them off as an idiot before, or I wrote them off as somebody who simply is too dumb to get what's happening. Before. But now I'm like, you know what? People have legitimate concerns. They have reasons to support different candidates. It's totally legitimate.
And be there forever and not get anything done. This is a betrayal of what we sent her to do. I mean, when we created Justice Democrats, and she was one of the first Justice Democrats, the whole conversation was the people that we're electing are for our policies. They can't be corrupt. They can't take any big money or corporate money. And they have to be for, Medicare for all, free college, a living wage, ending the wars. They have to be for all the right things. And these are the only people we're supporting. And now, with all of the name recognition she has and all the influence and power she has, she's trying to go along to get along and donate to more centrist candidates. And by the way, their reaction is just too perfect because it shows you what we knew they were going to do anyway. Even with her trying to get along with them now and helping them, they're like, they run to Politico, they run to the media to be like, we don't want your help, we don't like you, we don't agree with you. So she's trying to.
One article was written about this from Politico, and Fox News wrote the same article basically.
Be extra nice to them to get along.
And don't forget, Kyle Kulinski on Justice Democrats was literally just the poster child or whatever, or what's it called? A poster boy, whatever. He was on the front page. He spread the awareness of it to get a big fundraising base online. I guess him and Cenk technically like wrote the platform, whatever that means, but it's really just copy and pasted from Bernie Sanders. They didn't really do anything to build on that.
And they still spit in her face. It's like, you want to sit her down and say, what did you learn? What did you learn? These people don't like you. They're never going to like you. They're never going to agree with you.
It doesn't matter if people like you in politics. It matters if you win. It matters if you can help people.
And what you're doing is absolutely pathetic, donating to them, trying to get back in their good graces. No actual.
Like, I can't imagine talking to somebody that I know, because I know a decent number of people who work for like lobbying and like communications companies. I can't imagine them watching this. They would cringe so much because they're willing to play ball to get political power. And progressives who are willing to do that as well, like Bernie Sanders and AOC, end up creating the most change. You get the populist energy, and then you funnel it in a way that changes inside politics. That is their center of political power, is grassroots energies, popular policies, a big fundraising base, all that stuff. That is their root of political power. And they're trying to be actual policy advocates instead of just policy like cheerleaders from the outside. They're trying to actually affect change. And oh my God, dude, like getting in real politics really makes me see how Kyle Kulinski is missing the mark here even more.
Lefty should be supporting any Democrat, especially in like primary elections, if they're not supportive of our policies. Why would you do that? The only reason you do that is because you're a tribal, partisan, blue no matter who clown. And you think rah team, yay
dude,
Democrats, no matter what they actually do substantively. And I think that's stupid.
I don't like Pelosi because I think she's bad at messaging. I think she pushes for not the best policies. I think she's bad with the media. I do think the only reason she's in that position is because of money she brings in, honestly. I just think she isn't a good representative of the party, which is basically your job, right, as a speaker.
How have
That's
the
who you vote to
attempts at
represent
marginal
you
improvement
in
gone over the past few
the
decades?
most democratic
How have they
branch of
gone?
government.
You take one step forward and two steps backward, because then when you do the incremental change, the Republicans come in there and destroy it and make things even worse.
Yeah, exactly, Erica. Like, yeah, because we always heard about Bernie Sanders. People in Washington don't like him, but because Bernie Sanders didn't want to say happy birthday to fellow politicians, and I totally get that. That's my mood too. Like, I don't like that shit either. But at some point, you have to be able to say like, hey, I have to get this stuff done for the people. I have to wage political power in some sense. Like, you have to do some things you don't feel comfortable with, or you don't like do eagerly. It's not all going to be a big game, you know? It's not all going to be a fun screaming contest in politics. A lot of it is really grimy, I don't know, behind the scenes. Like, we need to be friends with each other. Even if our goals don't completely align, like Pete Buttigieg, we need some politicians like that to be in our good graces, or we need to be in their good graces. Because when we need a vote on a certain bill, we need to get that through. Or when we want to, Bernie Sanders was the amendment king, or whatever they called him. Every little piece of legislation or public opinion that you influence as a politician is a big freaking deal. And you don't want to throw that away, out of a temper tantrum like Kyle wants to do.
This stuff isn't going to stand the test of time. FDR's rolling over in his grave right now, looking at how this party.
What do you mean? FDR was literally the epitome of waging political power. He wasn't some type of like outsider lefty populist socialist. That wasn't who FDR was. I hate the way he talks about FDR because, oh my God, it feels like he has no historical freaking understanding whatsoever.
The reform era.
He wasn't a socialist or anything. He was pushed by socialists when he got into a position of power because he was also a policy wonk. He listened to people like that. Imagine if socialists back then literally just said, I'm not going to be involved in government whatsoever. Like, oh my God, dude, I can't stand it.
Even with her reaching out to these centrists and establishment types and giving them money, they still spit in her face. So she's doubly embarrassed and besmirched. It's beyond pathetic. They're never going to like you. They're never going to agree with you. So you may as well have the courage of your convictions and stand up and fight for the things you believe in and take everybody down along with you. You know what I mean? Like, go out with some dignity and some honor if you're going to go out.
Do you hear the way he's talking right now? Go out with dignity and honor. Bro, calm down. This isn't a play. Are you acting right now? Are you giving a little monologue, like a, what's it called? I don't know, like a dramatic speech to the crowd?
These guys are assholes. They've always been assholes. So why are you trying to go along to get along with them when they're going to spit in your eye anyway? Unless, of course, you don't really believe the things that you claimed you believed in.
There he is, saying oh my God, this entire video is the same thing I brought up earlier. Either AOC is too dumb to understand, or she doesn't truly care. That's what he says about everybody. Imagine making these statements about so many people. Like, if somebody made that, and they make those statements about me, obviously. Like, I either don't care because I'm not yelling, or I'm like, Jesus, dude. It's such a moral, like, absolutist position to take. Like, you're either morally pure, or you're either principled, or you're like a corrupt politician. Whatever they mean by principled.
The higher goal for you is climbing within the party. And I don't want that to be the case. But reading a story like this, it's hard to not conclude that. Because there should be no scenario wherein Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez donates to Democrats who are against the left's main policies. So, again, completely unacceptable. She's really giving a lot of ammo to her left-wing critics here. For sure. Do I think there's
right, Andrew. Comparing him to infrared may seem like a meme, but there's a certain congruence between populists. Like Tim Pool, Demi Jor, Kyle Kulinski, Crystal, and Sagar from Rising. There is a certain, agreement between them that they want to burn stuff down. And if building requires working within the system in some sense, then they don't want to build anymore. They would rather go down being principled than create positive change and take some hits. Play the game a little bit.
Some criticisms of her that are completely unfair. I do. But any criticism over this is absolutely fair. It's absolutely fair. You're donating to people who are ideological enemies within the party. If there is a democratic civil war going on, and there is...
Yeah, exactly, Achilles.
You're taking the side of the enemy in that battle. You're taking the side of the corporatists. Why would you donate money to them? You should be launching attacks against them, using public pressure campaigns to get them to fall in line behind our popular policies. And this is not that. It's not even close to that. Oh my God.
Yeah, don't forget he doesn't know how to read Medicare for All polling either. That was a big period of my channel, the forced to vote debates. That might be my favorite period so far. That was my favorite overall moment. Twitter is not America. That's probably my favorite video on my channel.
It really is depressing, man. This makes me depressed. What has happened to her? $160,000 to establishment Democrats, and they spit in your face anyway and embarrass you anyway.
All right, enough of the emotion. Let's look at the comments. So she doesn't take corporate money. She just takes yours and gives it to Democrats who do. Here's the Mama Bear quote. People are really ass mad about that. Where is this one quote? Somebody said, making fun of her. You know, it's funny. All the right-wing channels made fun of her for crying at the border too. Interesting. Somebody said a really funny quote, and I put it on my community tab. I guess I can just pull that up really quick. Here I am right here. I guess it's time to talk about Kulinski again. There's somebody said in the comments, sugar, whatever. They said AOC is literally not a far lefty, nor is she big and bad. AOC is a ladder climbing careerist who's angling to be speaker one day. I'm like, dude, speaker one day. AOC is angling to be speaker one day. Yes, she wants political power. Do Kyle Kulinski and Jimmy Dore fans realize the irony in their populist rage political approach? Like, yes, AOC is trying to get actual political power. That's the goal. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Please. Please. Actual political power. I want that. I want that big time. That's how you create change. You don't create change by just yelling. You know. All right. What's next? Bow of the eighth column or more Kyle Kulinski?